You already know that feeling. You're in the middle of a conversation and something goes wrong. You can feel it. The other person's energy shifts, their eyes change, and suddenly the connection you thought you had just disappears. And you're standing there replaying every single word you said, trying to figure out what happened. That moment right there is costing you more than you realize. Here's what nobody is talking about. The biggest communication mistakes people make aren't the obvious ones. They're not about vocabulary or grammar. They're subtle, invisible patterns that happen beneath the surface, and they're silently destroying your relationships, your career, and your confidence every single day. And the painful part is, most people never even figure out what they're doing wrong. They just keep losing opportunities, losing connections, and losing ground. But before we go deeper, if you are serious about completely transforming how you communicate, and you want structured guidance to accelerate that transformation, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. People who take action on their communication skills early see dramatic results faster. Don't wait until you've already lost the room one too many times. Now let's get into this. The first mistake. You are listening to respond instead of listening to understand. Think about the last meaningful conversation you had. Were you actually present? Or were you already building your next sentence while the other person was still talking? Be honest. Because here's what that does to people. They feel it. They feel the moment you check out. They feel the half-second pause before you start talking that tells them you were already formulating your response before they even finish their thought. And that one pattern makes people feel invisible, unheard, unimportant. And here is the brutal truth. When people feel unheard, they stop opening up. They pull back. They stop trusting you. And over time, the most important people in your life start emotionally distancing themselves from you. Not because they don't care about you, but because being around you stopped feeling safe. That is the cost of listening to respond. And most people carry that cost their entire lives without ever identifying the source of the problem. Now flip that around. Imagine truly listening. Not just nodding, actually absorbing what someone is saying, feeling the weight of their words, letting their emotions land. Research consistently shows that people who practice deep active listening build stronger relationships, advance faster professionally, and are rated as significantly more trustworthy and charismatic by the people around them. That is not a soft skill. That is the difference between a life where you feel deeply connected and one where you always feel slightly isolated, even in a room full of people. The second mistake. You're letting your body say something completely different than your mouth. You say you're fine, but your arms are crossed. You say you're confident, but you're shrinking in your chair. You say you're interested, but your eyes keep drifting. And here is the thing. People's brains are wired to detect inconsistency instantly. They may not consciously register it, but they feel it. And the moment your words and your body language contradict each other, you become untrustworthy. Not because you're a bad person, but because the signal you're sending is confused. Studies in human communication have shown that a massive portion of what we actually communicate happens through tone, posture, eye contact, and micro-expressions. The words themselves carry far less weight than most people think, which means you could be saying all the right things and still completely destroying the message. That is where so many people get stuck. They work on what to say, but never on how they show up while they say it. The third mistake, and this one is going to hurt a little. You over-explain. You justify, you over-apologize, and without realizing it, you are signaling to everyone around you that you don't actually believe in what you're saying. Every unnecessary apology, every time you overqualify a statement, every time you bury your point under layers of context that nobody asked for, you are unconsciously communicating insecurity. And people respond to that. They unconsciously respect you less. They push back more, they take your ideas less seriously. High-impact communicators, the people who walk into rooms and instantly command attention and earn trust, they say less and they say it with more certainty. Not arrogance, certainty. There is a massive difference. And that shift, from shrinking to grounding yourself in your words, changes everything about how people perceive you and how you feel about yourself. The fourth mistake. You use vague language. You say things like maybe, kind of, sort of, I think, possibly. And those words seem harmless. They feel polite. But what they actually do is make everything you say sound unreliable. Vague language is the silent killer of credibility. And credibility is the foundation of every successful relationship, negotiation, and opportunity in your life. When you communicate with precision and specificity, something shifts. People start treating your words as trustworthy. They lean in. They take action based on what you say. And that compounds over time in ways that are genuinely life-changing. Think about the professional opportunities alone. Clear communicators consistently earn more, get promoted faster, and are chosen for leadership roles over equally skilled people who simply can't articulate themselves with confidence and clarity. The fifth mistake. You don't know how to handle tension. When there's conflict or discomfort in a conversation, you either go completely silent and shut down, or you say too much and make it worse. Either extreme costs you. Because life is full of difficult conversations. Negotiations, confrontations, moments where the relationship is on the line and the right words can either deepen the trust or shatter it completely. People who know how to navigate tension with calm, empathy, and clarity are among the most valued humans in any environment. They become the person everyone calls in a crisis. The person who earns the deepest loyalty, the person who never has to fight for a seat at the table because the table makes room for them automatically. And that is not some mystical gift. It is a skill, a learnable, trainable, buildable skill. Here's what's happening right now in your life if these mistakes are showing up. Opportunities are passing you by that you don't even know you're losing. Relationships that should be thriving are slowly eroding. You're working harder than you should have to, trying to be understood, trying to be respected, trying to be seen. And you are exhausted by it. Not because you're not smart enough or good enough, but because nobody ever taught you the specific mechanics of communication that actually move people. And here's the shift that changes everything. Every single one of these mistakes is fixable. Not in years. Not with some long, painful journey of reinventing yourself. The people who commit to understanding and practicing these specific skills report a transformation in how they're received by others that happens faster than they ever expected. They describe finally feeling heard for the first time. They describe opportunities showing up that weren't there before. They describe a completely different relationship with confidence in social and professional situations. That is not an accident. That is what happens when you stop leaving communication to chance and start treating it as the most important skill you can develop. Because every single result in your life is filtered through your ability to communicate, your income, your relationships, your leadership, your influence, your self-image. All of it comes down to how effectively you connect, express, and navigate the world through language and presence. The version of you that communicates powerfully, that listens deeply, that holds tension with grace, that speaks with clarity and conviction, that person doesn't just feel better. That person creates a completely different life. A life where doors open more often. Where relationships feel genuinely nourishing. Where you walk into difficult conversations feeling grounded instead of terrified. You've spent enough time feeling misunderstood. Enough time replaying conversations wishing you'd said something differently. Enough time watching other people connect and influence and advance while you wonder what they have that you don't. The answer is not talent. The answer is skill. And skill is something you can build starting right now. If you're ready to go deeper and actually do the work that transforms how you show up in every conversation, the related programs linked in the video description below are exactly what you need. Most people will watch this, nod along, and go right back to their old patterns tomorrow. Don't be most people. The ones who take action today are the ones who are living completely different lives 6 months from now. That link is right there. The decision is yours.